What's up, everybody? Joe White here, rolling through the mountains of Pennsylvania today, up here off of I-99. You hit the 999 over to 322 and over to 80, and that's where I'm going. I'm rolling toward Elkhorn, Wisconsin, and wanted to talk a little bit about this TNA WWE partnership. We saw a little bit of it last night by, the Jordynne Grace and Jordynne Grace match there with Roxanne Perez. And at the end of it, I knew going into it that there was going to be shenanigans at the end. You're not going to have anybody going over too cleanly. But, with Tatum Paxley coming in and wanting Jordynne Grace's title, and then Ash by Elegance doing the damn run in, and Jordynne Grace popping them both with the belt, and then that serves as a distraction. And then you got, um, Roxanne winning. Um, Obviously, that was the best match on the card, but I wanted to talk a little bit about why, in the end, this is not going to benefit TNA too much. They got Against All Odds this Friday, and I got to be honest with you. If anybody thinks we're going to see Joe Hendry show up in NXT, you're dead wrong. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. If it does, it would surprise the hell out of me. I'll say that much. But I don't look for that to happen. You're not going to see Moose popping up in NXT. Okay? You may see some NXT guys go over there. I could see I could see like a Miss Jackson or a Metaphor showing up over there. I could see, a Wendy Chu coming over there to TNA. But the problem I have with all this is it does no good for TNA when TNA, as I've said in previous videos, do not want to help themselves. They have tapings, their next tapings after Against All Odds, because they got to do Against All Odds, and then they got to tape up through Slammiversary. And that's when their next, I think it's in August in Tampa. They've cut down their road schedule. They have cut down their office staff. I mean, look at the beginning of the year. It's been nothing but cuts. Scott D'Amore got shown the door. And then they're all, a lot of their office staff got shown the door. You had Lou D'Angeli, who was very, very, prominent backstage guy, got shown the door. And it's all cost cutting. We hear that all the time. Anthem is cutting costs when it comes to TNA. Because it just doesn't justify it when you're only getting about 400 or 500 people showing up to shows, and your ratings aren't even cracking the top 15 in cable every week. So they see this as, hey, we got kind of like sold a bill of goods. The only reason why they bought Access TV was so that TNA could have a home. So I think that we may be looking at the fact that, again, when you don't want to throw any more money at the show, the reason why they got rid of Scott D'Amore is because Scott D'Amore wanted them to put more into the product. You got to spend money to make money. Scott D'Amore was trying to get them to see that, and they're like, nope. We gotta cut the costs, cut the fat. So that's where they're at now. And it's not looking, the WWE thing, yeah, it's good for a while. It's good for the summer. But I don't see it lasting throughout the year. If anything, the only reason why this is going on is so that they could get Jordynne Grace when her contract is over. Maybe even earlier. Because the NXT ratings have increased since Jordynne Grace has busted onto the scene. like I said, you can't help somebody who doesn't want to help themselves. And TNA and the people at Anthem don't want to help TNA. They don't want to help themselves. So what happens? You're beating a dead horse. As I've said in other videos, this is what happens in TNA all the time. One step forward, two steps back. They were really cooking, and the damn they were really cooking, and then all of a sudden Hell South screwed them over, so they had to go get Dixie Carter to come in. They were really cooking around 2006, 2007, dare say 8, and then 2009, 2010, or 2010, the Bischoff thing, and Hogan coming in and getting rid of the six-sided ring. That happened. Then they got rid of them, and Dixie Carter gets put through a table. That whole era. Do you see a pattern? It's ups and downs, ups and downs. One step forward, two steps back. Then they were, okay, Scott D'Amore's in here, and he's doing good things with them, and we're going to ditch this Impact crap and go back with TNA because that's what people are familiar with. And as soon as that happens, oh, Scott D'Amore's gone. And then, we got this deal with WWE happening, and there's rumors that they may be some kind of partnership. And then, we're going to get rid of half the office staff. So, I mean, it's like one step forward, two steps back. And you can't sit there, and WWE can't help them. What's the point of all this? Besides WWE scouting future talent. You can't help a company that doesn't want to help themselves. They don't want to throw any more money at it. Which they're not throwing any money partnering with WWE because WWE is going to pay their guys. TNA has to pay their guys and gals. So I look at it this way. Again, you're beating a dead horse. Why should you help a company that does not care if that company makes any money or lose? If it was up to Anthem right now, they probably right now wishing they would have just sold it to Scott D'Amore. Honestly. But if you sell it to Scott D'Amore, guess what? You have a WCW situation all over again. Because if Anthem sells them off, they're not giving them the TV time. So I think this could be a way to. I think this is a scouting expedition for WWE. Can we buy this? Can we do something with this? They have a whole entire network on Peacock, and they have a performance center that they could film TNA tapings at. And also, it cripples. I mean, it really doesn't cripple AEW because AEW used TNA for about a 6-month period to help put over Kenny Omega, and then that got gone real quick, didn't it? So I look at it this way. TNA is, and until Anthem wants to put some more money into it, you can't, it's beating a dead horse. And I don't know if this happens if Scott D'Amore was still there. I would like to think that it would. I would like to think that Scott D'Amore would want a little bit of a relationship with WWE after AEW just, hey, we're going to use you to put over our top guy, and then poof, we're gone. But that's why I think this AEW TNA thing is just a bunch of smoke and mirrors. It's just a bunch of crap. We need to cut through all the red tape crap and realize this does not benefit TNA whatsoever. And all it does for WWE is allow them to scout talent. That's it. So, instead of Forbidden Door, you got the portal that everybody's talking about, the portal. Like I said, if you think Joe Hendry's showing up in NXT, it would surprise me. He probably would have done it last night. We're not going to see Joe Hendry versus Trick Williams for the NXT title. Everybody needs to stop that crap. Now, Moose versus Trick Williams, I would like to see, but I don't think we will. You're not going to see. I think last night proved it. You're not going to see TNA guys holding WWE titles, and you're not going to see NXT guys holding TNA titles. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen. I wanted to talk a little bit about Wendy Chu as well. Wendy Chu is returning this Tuesday, and if you've noticed, we're going to get a darker version of Wendy Chu. You know, Wendy Chu did play the old Chinese woman who, you know, surveyed her wisdom. So I hope to God we're not going into some real supernatural stuff with her. Maybe it's just a darker version of the character. But I like the Wendy Chu character. I really do. She plays it really well. She's really good at that character. So who knows? But I'm looking forward to seeing her come back. You know, you talk about WWE is really wanting. It's obvious. You know, I said it in my NXT Battleground review last night with Jordynne Grace. She earned a WWE contract last night. If WWE could sign her, they would have signed her already. And I think, you know, her contract is up in January of 2025. I would not be surprised if Jordynne Grace comes in and is in the Rumble again next year. But this version of Jordynne Grace, I'm not really that big of a fan of. Again, I'm a fan of the work. I'm not really a well. Like I said, I'll leave it there. I've said that in a lot of videos. I'll leave it there. I don't want to say what I'm meaning to say because everybody's going to come after me and ridicule me for what I might have to say. So I'll just leave it there. But when when you think at all the possibility of the matches that could happen in WWE, Jordynne Grace versus Rhea Ripley is the first one to come to mind. Jordynne Grace versus Bayley. Jordynne Grace versus Jordynne Grace versus Nia Jax might be something. Jordynne Grace versus Bianca Belair. Jordynne Grace versus Becky Lynch. You know, Jordynne Grace, that gives you another top talent that maybe spends a year in NXT before getting sent up to the main roster. And then you let her loose on the main roster. Jordynne Grace versus Tiffany Stratton. Just the promo work alone would be amazing. I will say this about Jordynne Grace. Look at how much I remember watching her, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, right around 2017, 2018, in Queens of Combat and down there in North Carolina and doing Shine and all this stuff down there. The body changed. The voice has changed too. Her voice has changed, I think. So, but that being said, she does work really good. Her work has always been phenomenal, even before she got all jacked up. Her work has always been good. Another thing that Jonathan Gresham is floating out there in the ether. He's not with Ring of Honor anymore because Tony Khan screwed that up. And again, like I said in one of my previous videos, Jordynne Grace was never going to sign with AEW because she's married to Jonathan Gresham. It's a political thing. I would not want to go work for a company that my wife has sour grapes about. I would not want to, go to work for a company that has fired my husband. I wouldn't want to give them any kind of credibility whatsoever. And so I never thought Grace was going to go to AEW for that very reason. Now, could Jonathan Gresham show up in NXT? Yes. Do I think Jonathan Gresham should show up in NXT? Yes. Because they need that type of technical talent in NXT. They do. The flashy characters like the Axiom and Nathan Frazier and the Ethan Page and Trick Williams, who basically is all flash, no work. They need that technical person there. They need a wrestler in there. And Jonathan Gresham just fits. But getting back to Wendy Choo, I mean, I think that. Sorry, I'm all over the place today, guys. But with Wendy Choo, I would love to see her versus, her versus Roxanne would be great. Her going after that North American title. Wendy Choo versus Kalani Jordan would be amazing. But I don't see Wendy Choo. I think we maybe see Wendy Choo in the Rumble next year and getting called up. Because before she got injured, she was almost ready. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Anyway, folks, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, please. It's really helping out the channel. I want to thank you to all my new subscribers here within the recent months. But thank you guys so much for watching and listening, and we'll see you down the road.